Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's a 1-year update for this awesome specialty set, Paldean Fates. Sit back, relax, and welcome, PokeMarketLab. All right, let's get into it. Paldean Fates 1-year update. This was released on January 24th, 2024. So we're just a little past the 1-year update. This has been a fantastic set. I've been screaming from every rooftop that you should have been picking this up. Hopefully some of you listened because depending on how you look at it, you missed your chance. You certainly missed your chance to pick it up at that $50 price point, that MSRP. This was available quite frequently for below that $50 price point. So let's start looking at some of the boxes here, some of the pricing. First off, Pokemon Center Elite Trainer box. You know my thoughts on this. All of them from Scarlet and Violet, regardless of the quality of the promo, have been doing fantastic. Again, the promo has that little Pokemon Center stamp on it. That's really the only difference between the Pokemon Center ETB and the regular ETB, but this Pokemon Center stamp carries a massive promo. So the PC ETB for Paldean Fates sitting at $170. Absolutely monster 92% return in the last few months. Only 45 of these listed on TCG Player. So if you have these, hold on to them. This is a good PC ETB. Some of the promos in some of the Pokemon Center ETBs from some of the sets, like a Twilight Masquerade with the Teal Mask Ogre Pond, Shrouded Fable, not the best promos, but they're still rare, right? The promos are still rare and the boxes are still going up in value. This is a good one. You get the Mimikyu promo in there. I think that's great. I think the box art on this is great. Again, I wish there was different box art on the PC ETB versus the regular ETB. This is a solid one. So I don't know that I would be buying this at 170, but holding on to it. If you have some of these, please hold. This is going to do really, really well long term. Mimikyu promo is sitting at $56 on the secondary market, so it's holding up really, really well. That's I think that's a solid promo. You get Mimikyu there with Granny in the background. Closer view here, again, $56. So this promo has gone up 94% in the last few months. There's only 20 of these. This is the Pokemon Center version. There's only 20 of these listed on TCG Player. So sold extremely well. Almost 500 of these sold in the last few months. And again, the only way to get this into market, the only way to get more of these singles into market is to crack Pokemon Center ETBs. How many people are going to go and spend $170 and crack a Pokemon Center ETB to get these into the market, right? No one. No one's going to do that. So my point is, this is a good card, and it's going to continue to go up in value because the population of these out in the market is just going to keep dwindling. So great performance on this, $56. The regular Elite Trainer box sitting at an extremely strong $102, 80% monster return for a regular ETB, 80% return in the last few months. Just look at that chart. It's beautiful. Sitting right at $100, almost 1,200 of these sold in the last few months. There's under 200 of these available on TCG Player. The big question on this, and we'll kind of come back to it too, is going to be reprints, right? It's only a year old. There's a lot of stuff in Scarlet and Violet that needs reprints. I think we're at the point, being only a year old, it could use some reprints, right? Just to be honest with you. Again, we don't want this. I know it seems counterintuitive, right? Hey, it's a year old, it's $100, we made some money. Yeah, you want this stuff to go slowly up over time, though. You really want to slow trends because, again, you want it to be cheap enough, at least at release, at least for the first couple of years, to get in the hands of people, for people to experience it, for people to love it, even yourself, right? I mean, I don't know, your reason for being in the hobby is different than everyone's. Of course, it's very individualized, but for me, I want to, I'm not going to open a $100 ETB necessarily, right? $50 ETB on release, yeah, I do that for every set, but I think $100 after the first year isn't terrible. I wouldn't mind a reprint, maybe reduce that price a little bit. And again, that's an opportunity at that point, right? Reprints, do not fear them. That's an opportunity to back the truck up and get a bigger position in this. But if you don't have any Paldean Fates, I urge you to go out, try to find something maybe cheaper than ETB. Look at the pack price. Just know that the reprint, there is likely some sort of reprint coming for this. I don't think it's going to be massive enough to really reduce the price on this, just because it's a really solid set. And just to show the 12-month view here, even more impressive. This is up 142% in the last year. So it went from a low of below 50. I think you could get these all day before the craziness in the bull run for about $40. and it's $102 for a specialty set regular ETB. So again, monster set. It's done extremely well. I was saying this for a long time. Again, hopefully you pick some up. And again, this isn't hard to predict how this stuff is going to go. It's hard to predict from a price standpoint. It's not hard to predict what the market is going to be perceived as good. This is just a solid set with solid cards. And let's do some comparison to some other ETBs, specialty ETBs from Scarlet and Violet. So you got Paldean Fates here on the left, $101 in ETB. These are all regular ETBs, by the way. 151, obviously huge set, monster product, $178. Prismatic sitting at 115, and of course Shrouded picking up the caboose slot here at $49. So I just want to give some perspective here. Obviously, specialty sets outside of Shrouded doing extremely well. Both Paldean, 151, and Prismatic are extremely strong specialty sets. Now let's look at total value of cards in sets. So this is every single card in each of these sets. The market price of those just all tallied up. So Paldean sitting at about $1,300, almost $1,400, 151 right there. These are actually neck and neck, sitting at $1,400. Prismatic, obviously because the Umbreon, the other EV Evolutions cards, SRs there, pumping those numbers up at $8,129, and Shrouded again, just a pretty weak set, pretty low tier set at $650. This is really to illustrate Paldean versus 151. And again, I'm going to come back to this as it relates to ETB price, but I think it just represents the fact that Paldean's probably undervalued at this point. 151 is older. 151's always going to carry the 151 name, right? It's got the original 151 Pokemon, but you have some really strong products here, really strong cards in Paldean with the Mew and Charizard. And speaking of which, let's look at the card distribution here. So this is a distribution of pricing. So you get the Mew all the way at the left here, followed by the Charizard and the Gardevoir, and then so on and so forth. So this is the top 20 cards of value from Paldean Fates. And so this is just to show, is this, is the set chase or bust? Is there other value in the set? And so what we can see here on the left-hand side is we have that Mew, the Bubble Mew, as it's lovingly referred to, over $400. And then we have the Charizard. It's hands down the best Charizard in anything from Scarlet and Violet at this point, above 200, and then the Gardevoir in third place. But what this is really showing, I would have liked to have had a more gentle curve here. And so this is really, it shows me what the takeaway here is it's top heavy, meaning the bubble is really strong. You got Charizard, but it's really to get your box price back. It's either those two or bust. And what I like to see typically is a more gentle curve with some higher values in those other slots, 5, 6, 7, 10, all the way to 20 here. The value just drops pretty quick in Paldean. So I think the pantheon of cards in this set is just top heavy. So there's the baby shinies are good. I just think that I wish we had some other cards in 4th and 5th spots here with a little bit more value. So again, I think the quality of cards is top heavy. And just to compare, we can compare Paldean Fates card distribution versus 151 card distribution. So we have a more expensive card in the chase in the Mew, right? So it's just Paldean is orange here, and then 151 is blue. So this is the Mew here, and then obviously we have the Charizard for 151 here. And we just have, again, outside of that first slot here, we have better values overall for the rest of the slots for 151. So that just makes it a better opening experience. It's not a hit card or bust, right? So, and remember the prices that you see here, the prices that we have on TCG Player, they're representative of supply and demand. Well, on the demand side, the demand is it's not just investors, right, or even collectors. It's people who want those cards, right? So the market price is always going to be representative of the demand of this card. So what this is telling us here is that generally speaking, a lot more cards in the top 20 slots from 151 are probably sought after a bit more than Paldean. So again, Paldean's it's a good solid set. It's just the baby shinies are great, and that's really what it is. The baby shinies are kind of filling in those top spots, and they're good cards. They're just not. I wish we had some stronger SIRs. I think that's what is really. Looking at the top 3 cards here from Paldean Fates. Again, we have the Bubble Mew on the left-hand side sitting at a monster $400 price, 131% return in the last 3 months. Only 90 cards listed on TCG Player. Look at the sell volume here. Plenty of cards selling, so that's what we want. We want strong sell-through, right? We don't want these dips or anything like that. Very strong demand, right? That's a representation of demand, and extremely solid price. Charizard, again, it's a crowned Charizard, so it actually, beats out the crowned Charizard we had from Obsidian Flames. $200 market price here, 53% return in the last month. Only 100 of these listed on TCG Player. And then Gardevoir on the right-hand side. I don't think a super strong SR, but it's a good looking card. Gardevoir EX, $92, 77% return in the last few months. That Bubble Mew is a monster card in Scarlet and Violet. So I believe outside of Prismatic, it is the most expensive. I believe it's the most expensive card outside of Prismatic or any other set in Scarlet and Violet. So just that's a huge thing. And again, it kind of came out of nowhere. If we zoom back out, if we were to zoom out on this, the increase year over year is massive. And we go further down in the set here again. So these values start to drop off pretty quickly here. Pikachu sitting. This is a baby shiny Pikachu. These are great in person, by the way. They have a textured foil in them in the box here behind the Pokemon. They're really good. They're beautiful cards. Again, they're just not SRs. So Pikachu, $42, 52% return in the last few months. Iono at 30. Beautiful trainer here, 37% return in the last few months. And you can see here that volume is actually, her volume started to increase here, driving up that price pretty sharply. And then Charmander, $27, 19% return in the last few months. So very, very solid performance on these. No dips on these cards in the last few months. And again, the market's extremely hot. So it's hard to determine how much of this is organic versus speculation on singles. Again, I think these are great cards. The big question in the room, of course, is just going to be some other honorable mentions. Again, it's pretty much baby shinies outside of the top 10 cards here. So we get Clive over here. I thought was a cool return, sitting at a cool card, looking $11 here. This Mimikyu, I love Mimikyu, just one of my favorite Pokemon here. $15, and this Starmie, an original 151 here, sitting at $5. Just a few honorable mentions. So let's kind of look at this from a high level standpoint. Should you be buying Paldean Fates? I think you should have some. I would definitely, if you have no exposure to Paldean Fates, if you are okay with the reprint, if you're okay holding on, even though if we get a reprint, or maybe dollar cost averaging and picking up some more if we get a reprint, I would go out and get something. And that could be booster bundles. That could be, we have not seen, I don't think we've seen much of anything. We've seen a little bit of Paldean Fates, I think some blister packs, things like that. Even, I don't know if we've seen bundles recently. I haven't seen ETBs come back in stock in a while. My point is, try to get something if you can. If that means waiting for a restock, if that means going out and getting a tin or something like that, get some. Make sure you have some exposure to Paldean Fates. It's a really solid set, and there's risks on both sides of the coin. I've said this before. I'll actually link a video here about talking about a reprint roadmap in the next 6 months. It's going to be very complicated for the Pokemon companies to navigate this. And it could mean that a lot of different sets that need attention get a little bit of attention, or it could mean they go kind of heavy on things, or it could mean they, instead of, not reprinting something after 2 years, they just keep reprinting. They go back to the well and just keep kind of dumping stuff in the market. We have no idea how that's going to play out. So again, there's risk of reprint here. And again, long term, it's not going to matter, but long term, it's going to be good for the product. And it is an opportunity if you get in. So point being, again, have some exposure to it now. Be willing to, if you see an opportunity to get more, especially at MSRP, you got to hop in there. I don't think there's any risk at getting any product MSRP. This is a really solid set. It's going to do really well long term. So make sure you have some. So my overall set rating, this is not a rating of the price or anything like that. This is just the cards, box art, all that. So I'm going to give the set rating, it's a B+, could be bordering on A-. Again, I think it's a little heavy, top heavy with the Bubble Mew is fantastic. The Charizard's fantastic. Gardevoir is okay. I like the baby shinies, but I just think it's a little bit of a gap in some other SIRs here. So again, very solid set, just top heavy for me. And then talking about reprint risk, I would give this a medium reprint risk. It is a year old, which is good. So it's working on 2 years at this point. I just think it is, we're likely to see reprints of something. Do they do the 151 thing where they reprint booster bundles and tins and other things, and maybe come up with some kind of specialty collection or something, or a premium collection down the road instead of touching the ETBs? Did they go back and reprint the ETBs? Can they go back and reprint it in any kind of appreciable volume? We have no idea. Again, don't be afraid of the reprints. It's not a bad thing. I highly doubt any set outside of Prismatic is going to get dumped on for reprints. I don't think we're going to have a situation like that where I think the market, I think there's a lot of people that would hop in on this product if it hit $75 again. And I think if this was $75 today, I'd absolutely go out and buy it. I would load up and get more of this. So again, have some exposure, but just be cautious that there's likely some kind of reprint coming. So. And price target for this box, again, this is hard to predict because it's not old enough to really say, hey, it's not getting a reprint anymore. So I think a fair price target for this is 125 to 150. And my reasoning for that is really 151. 151 is over $150 in ETB and continuing to go up. And you've seen card value, right? We saw the card value distribution on this. It's right there with 151. This is a very solid set. I think 125 on the low end, absolutely no. I mean, it's going that way to begin with. I think if the tide of the market is still going up and continues to go up, 150 compared to other products, I think is going to be a very solid price target for this. It's a really, really solid set. I've loved opening this. I pulled some baby shinies. I didn't pull anything fantastic. The baby shinies are really nice to open. They feel really good. They look really good. They're 151, which is a positive. So just a really solid product all around. So that's our 1 year look at Paldean Fates. We'll come back to this at some point, probably take another look at it in another few months here and see what happens to this awesome product. And again, make sure you have some exposure to this one. So that's it for today. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like and subscribe if you like what we're doing, and we'll see you on the next one. PokeMarketLab